head up, and you will end this.
I'm just getting warmed up. This is Von Clausewitz shit. Total fucking war.
I'm gonna pull the whole thing down. I'm gonna bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down.
It's gonna go.
Have you consulted with a lawyer about that point?
Sir, I don't need to consult with a lawyer on that point. That's it's well-established in case law. Registration is not ownership. It's notice of ownership. There's no document. If I don't file or change the county's documents, they don't get to take the property, and it doesn't become the state's property. It's my property by way of law. It's an operation of law. There's nothing to research. He argues about 8811. 8811 is nothing more than an enumeration of taxable subjects. And he fails to look at Section A of 8811. It says, this is property that was made taxable by the laws of the Commonwealth. He can't explain what laws of the Commonwealth are making that property in that enumerated list taxable. Title 53, Pennsylvania Code, Section 8811. Yeah, Section A of that basically says that this is an enumeration of property made taxable by the laws of the Commonwealth. He can't explain how the property is being made taxable because what they're using is an ad valorem tax. An ad valorem tax is a commercial tax roll. They're taking non-commercial property and they're placing it on a commercial tax roll without any tax returns and no assessments. He's got no returns for my property. He's got no assessments on my property. The county does not have an assessment of my property pursuant to the law. So that, there is no remedy as far, he's talking about there's remedies within the state. If you were, and he actually put a link to the Board of Assessment if you want to challenge the assessment. But you can't challenge the assessment. All you can challenge is the value of the assessment. And you would have two options if you were to move under the link that Mr. Schley provided. You would have to get your own assessment and bring it in, or you'd have to have a comp sale of the property and bring it in, and then the board would determine a value. Nowhere in there is a remedy to remove the property from the tax roll because there is no process to put a non-commercial property on a commercial ad valorem tax roll, which is what the county's doing here. Sir, you're being ripped off. If you own a property and you're paying a property tax and there's no taxable business privileges occurring at that property, you're being ripped off by your county.
Did you get assessments from the county?
They're not assessments.
Whatever, did you get a piece of paper?
Well, they're mailing fictitious fraudulent bills. They're not assessments. That's not an assessment, sir. An assessment in Pennsylvania requires three things. It's the market value of the property, it's depreciation and replacement costs, and it's the income approach of the property. They have no market value of the property. They're looking at like a Zillow or a Trulia printout and guessing what the property costs. They have no depreciation replacement costs. They have no income approach because there's no income on the property. They don't have assigned assessment. They use what they call property tax, property record cards made from the CAMA system. That's their computer system. It looks like something you would see on Zillow online. Nobody signed it. It meets no statute. It does not meet the statutory requirement of what an assessment is. They don't have an assessment, and they don't have any returns. And it's well-established law in Pennsylvania Title 53 that a taxpayer is required to file a return. It's not an option. He's required to file a return. They have no returns filed by me. They have no evidence that I'm required to file a return. They don't have an assessment of the property. So what they're doing is they're falsifying their tax roll by taking non-commercial property and putting it on a commercial ad valorem tax roll. And it has to be commercial tax roll because otherwise you'd be taxing the value of the right to own the property. You can't tax the value of a right. It's like taking free speech and saying, I'm going to put a value on your free speech, Judge, and I'm going to tax it. Can't do that. It's very clear what a taxpayer is in Pennsylvania Code. Title 61, the Revenue Code, Section 153.1a and 155.1a strictly define a taxpayer as an entity organized and incorporated under the statutes of the Commonwealth, doing business in the Commonwealth, and owning property in the Commonwealth. That is exactly what a taxpayer is, and that's what a property tax is. If I were running a business for my property, sir, say I was running a car detailing business for my property and using my garage, well, then the state could charge me an excise tax for the privilege of doing the business, and since I'm using the property to conduct that privilege, then they can charge me a property tax. That's exactly what a property tax is. You can't charge a property tax for a home where the only thing going on there is eating, sleeping, and drinking. There's no taxable activities going on with the property. There is no process to put a non-commercial property on an ad valorem tax roll. This is why he's in default and why he has not answered this complaint, because he can't answer it. Then he talks about the 11th Amendment. The 11th Amendment's for states. They're a political subdivision of the state. I don't know where he got 11th Amendment. And here, I'll save your research time. You don't need to research it, because in the complaint are allegations of federal crimes and state crimes. And when there are federal crimes and state crimes lodged in the complaint, the 11th Amendment goes away. There is no immunity for committing crimes against somebody. And there's provable crimes in that complaint. The Rule 8, that's probably one of the most abused rules I've ever seen. It does not say you only can make short statements. It says you must, at a minimum, make a short statement so that the other party knows the basis of your complaint and knows that basically what you're going to be probing in discovery, what you're going to be asking. That's what Rule 8's for. It doesn't say you can only make short statements. It says that you must make at least a short statement and explain the complaint. Yeah, I think that addresses everything he's got there.
I heard counsel say that the payment of the tax is current.
They're paid for one reason, because if you don't pay it, they will sell your property without a day in court, without any due process whatsoever. They will literally steal your property. So the taxes are paid out of threats. Basically, when these people are collecting money that they're not entitled to collect, that's called theft under Pennsylvania 3921B. It's theft of immovable property. When they're doing it by threats, hey, either pay this tax or we're going to sell your property, that's called extortion. And when they're using the United States Postal Service to do it, which they do repeatedly, that's called mail fraud under Title 18, 1341. These people are committing crimes. This is a crime spree going on in Delaware County right now. They can't explain how they're taking non-commercial property and putting it on a commercial ad valorem tax roll. What is he taxing? What are his clients taxing? That's how the tax code's written, sir. I'm not making it up. This is the revenue code. Title 61, 153.1A, and 155.1A. And in the Title 61 code, he'll say it's commercial. That's what taxes are. They're commercial. There's a Section 5 in Title 61. That's a personal income tax. Also, there are also entities for a personal income tax. They're required to file a tax return. It's not an option. They're required to file a tax return. They have no tax return from me. So when you're paying a personal income tax, you're exercising a privilege in the taxing district. That's exactly what a property tax is. You're using the property to conduct a business privilege. So if there's no business privileges going on to the property, which my properties, there are no business privileges, there's eating, sleeping, and drinking going on there. And you can't tax that. So he can't explain how he's taken my non-commercial property and putting it on his commercial tax roll.